Good morning, everyone. Namaste. A warm welcome to all. I am Jagruti Darji, Assistant Professor and Assistant Coordinator, BMS Department, K.P.B. Hinduja College of Commerce, and co-convener for today's National Faculty Development Program on Social Entrepreneurship. K.P.B. Hinduja College of Commerce, established in 1974, functions under the guidance of the Hinduja Foundation, which is a part of the Hinduja Group. Over the years, the college has progressed with the belief sky is not the limit. Our college has been re-accredited NAC A+, grade CGPA 3.59, and also awarded college with the potential for excellence by the UGC. College, which started single commerce course, today offers more than 50 courses from higher secondary to the doctorate level. We offer specialization in management, finance, banking and accountancy, BFM, BMS, BIM, BTM, BBI, BAF, BSCIT, MCOM, MPhil and PhD, and various other certificates. I would also like to share a small thing that today we have 6,000 students on roll in our Hinduja college. Talking about BMS department, K.P.B. Hinduja College of Commerce, BMS department has always committed in the overall development of the students. The department has taken various initiatives for the students to groom them socially as well as academically, to enhance them and to make them industry ready. For this FDP, today's faculty development program, we have approx 3,000 registrations, not only from different states of India, but also from international universities. At the outset, I would now like to welcome Dr. Antra Sonavne, our Vice Principal, to give us some opening remarks. Before that, Principal Madam, she was not able to join us, but she's a strength and she keeps motivating us for going ahead with new projects. And with the best wishes, beginning with today's FDP, I welcome Dr. Antra ma'am. Over to you, Dr. Antra.
Thank you so much, Jagruti ma'am. Thank you so much for such a wonderful opening. So I welcome all the eminent speakers for today and all the participants. We are really happy to have such a warming, the response from all the participants that we have. So the theme for today's today's webinar, that is faculty development program, we have kept as a social entrepreneurship. Now, a social entrepreneurship that we always defined as, the entrepreneurship which is more with a social objective and it serves its primary purpose. So social entrepreneurship seeks maximizing benefits to the society and the environment, and this is the core need of today's society, even considering the lockdown and the opportunities to come ahead. When we see entrepreneurship is a road ahead, in that when we talk specifically about the social entrepreneurship, it is really going to give a lot to the society. So with this, it will be very interesting to know that what is the social entrepreneur's role, that they are going to be the role models ahead, and what role exactly the social entrepreneurship would play in education. So I hope this faculty development program is going to be really helpful, and it is going to give a great insights to all our participants. I wish all the best. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jagruti. You're on mute. Yeah.
Going ahead, I would now like to welcome Dr. Rashmi Surya, the convener for this National Faculty Development Program, to give her opening remarks. Over to you, Rashmi ma'am.
Thank you, Jagruti ma'am. Good morning, everyone. It's a very good opportunity for us to host a faculty development program like this, social entrepreneurship. As ma'am correctly said that this is the need of the time. we should think beyond the COVID-19 and what will be the future. And I hope for all the participants is going to have a very good experience and information from our so we have so good uh, speakers with their rich experience and with their expertise information. We are going to definitely we are going to have a benefit in future also. With this, I'm going to congratulate to everybody who are participating in this faculty development program. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jagrati ma'am.
I take the privilege to warmly welcome all the faculty participants. At the outset, I would now like to welcome Dr. Archana Singh. Ma'am is Assistant Professor at the Center for Social Entrepreneurship, School of Management and Labor Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Ma'am is the Program Convener for Masters in Social Entrepreneurship at CSE. She's teaching subjects like social entrepreneurship, corporate social responsibility, etc. Ma'am has done her MPhil and PhD in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. She has visited Kennesaw State University, Georgia, Atlanta to teach social entrepreneurship and social venture creation to the master students there. Ma'am has published various research papers and published a book, ma'am, titled The Process of Social Value Creation, a multiple case study on social entrepreneurship in India. Ma'am, it's an honor to have you over here. We welcome you here. Over to you, Archana, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It is my privilege to come here and talk about social entrepreneurship. So I will share my screen now. So today, with my session, I am going to introduce social entrepreneurship. So just before starting the session, the ma'am has talked about how in this situation and even the coming future, we need a different kind of perspective. And I think social entrepreneurship provides opportunity for that. And that's why today's, my whole lecture is introducing social entrepreneurship. So like we all know that development for any country, we cannot think about only the economic development because inclusive growth is very important. And when we talk about inclusive growth, we cannot ignore development in the social sector. And not only the development of the country, but lots of talks about these days are going on about sustainable development. And that's why we need inclusive development and we need a different kind of perspective. When we talk about inclusive growth and development in social sector, it means we need to create blended value. And what is blended value? We, or most of the time, we talk about only the economic development, economic value creation, but we tend to forget about there are values needed in other sector as well, and which is social value or economic value. So we need to create that kind of value which is there in all the sector. And so it is social value, environmental value and economic value. So we need to create blended value. And also if you see the challenges in the development sector, because if you see especially in India, government, voluntary sector and private sector, all these contribute to development of the country, but all are facing challenges, especially when we talk about government. Like in the current situation also, we are seeing how the government is facing challenges because of lack of resources and demand. If we talk about voluntary sector, always they are, I mean, we have lots of NGOs which are really engaged in creating lots of social initiative. Like these days, if you see migrant workers problem and all these, they are doing, but again, they are facing the challenges of sustainability of their social impact and the initiatives. And private sector also, these days they are talking about corporate sustainability, and for achieving the corporate sustainability goal, they need to create value or performance on 3 parameters like triple TBL, triple bottom line. Not only the economic, but also the people, profit, and planet, which refers to environmental value, social value, and economic value. And for all these, there is a need for innovation. We need to focus on innovation and collaboration. And this is actually need of the hour. So I am not going to just give what is social entrepreneurship and what. Let's first, I will talk about 2 cases. So this is the first case. This is Sampoorn Earth. This is one of the social enterprise. This organization is based in basically in Mumbai, and this Sampoorn Earth is started by 3 of our alumni, Center for Social Entrepreneurship, and their names are Ritvik, Jayant, and Devartha. What Sampoorn Earth is doing? Actually, Sampoorn Earth is completely 99% solution they are providing to waste management, and these are their services, waste audit and all these it is mentioned here. And their services, they started with Mumbai, but now they have scaled up in other states as well, and they are providing their services to educational campuses, corporate, even housing societies and all. What they are doing, actually they have developed partnership with one of the NGOs, Trimukti Sangatna, and they have employed rack pickers as their employee. With this initiative, they are creating livelihood, sustainable income opportunities for these rack pickers, and they are also providing them the uniform, the I-card. It provides dignity and sustainable source of income. This is the venture which also got global, I mean, lots of recognition across the world, not only in India. So they won Global Social Venture Competition in 2014, which was organized by Haas School of Business of University of California. And also they are the winner of National Entrepreneurship Award, which was started by Modi government in 2017. Let's watch a small video on this organization.
My name is Jan. I'm one of the co-founders and directors of Sampoorn. We started working on Sampoorn about 3.5 years ago. Sampoorn means complete, and Earth signifies money as well as meaning. And when we add into it, it also signifies the planet.
As an organization, what we are trying to do is we are trying to provide waste management services to bulk waste generators. It can be a partner house, it can be a council, it can be a education campus. So what we do is we try to process the waste in the most environmental friendly manner. We encourage recycling, composting, biogas, and at the end of the day, what we come out with is a zero waste situation.
संपूर्ण में ये कचरा लेके घर से कलेक्शन करके उधर से कचरा लाके फिर ये सेग्रेगेशन करके खाद बनाते.
The residents, were initially very reluctant. They didn't want to actually go through the whole process of having 2 separate bags and segregating food items and all that. But gradually, I think it took almost 6 months, even before we contacted Sampoorn, to get them to the idea.
Sampoorn, we definitely have certain targets for our company, like we should process 500 to 1,000 metric tons a day. In the next few years, we should employ more than 1,000 waste pickers in our office. But at the same time, we want to evolve as a company who would play a crucial role in changing the perspective waste management has been.
the DPS TCC program has helped us to move from one step to next step. So every time we had certain challenge in last 2 years, every step they have helped us to move to the next step. Even now, kind of, we are at a much advanced stage in, for a startup. Even there, kind of whatever support we need, they have always been open to help us.
My second case is Krishi Natural. Again, this organization is it has been started by Ketan Parmar, our alumni of Center for Social Entrepreneurship, and he started this organization to help farmers and promote organic farming in Gujarat. So what Krishi Natural does, it closely engages with the farmers, and they also provide all the training and technical support for promoting organic farming. And these all training are provided by Ketan free of cost with the knowledge partners. And what he does, he provides guaranteed market to its enrolled farmers and provides household consumers. I mean, all the vegetables he collects from the farmers and directly provides to the customers. And under this, he started with organic farming, but later he also into the milk business. So he is providing, he developed a brand Grid, where he provides A2 variety of milk, which is very indigenous cow's milk, and which is very healthy as compared to the normal milk that we get in the market. So he is doing that. These are just few photographs of his brand Giraj A2 milk and the basket of vegetables that he provides. And these are just few photographs where he is providing training and just supplying vegetables, fresh organic vegetables to the so housing societies. Just few photographs. Again, I will share again video, very small
जीवन
video.
क्यों नदियों के जैसे पल पल बहता जाता है कि मन में उसके दिव्य भावना सागर में मिल जाना है। जीवन क्यों पानी के जैसे ऊपर नीचे होता है, धरती को जितना प्यार किया है अब बादल उसने जाना है।
I'm Ketan Parmar, and I have founded this organization called Krishi Naturals, which works in the organic farming sector and also for the preservation of indigenous breed of cows. Organic farming is a natural way of farming in which you don't use synthetic chemicals as fertilizer nor as pesticide. In terms of really totally brand for organic vegetables, we are training these farmers free of cost. So there is a capacity building happening. We are providing them with some basic assets like weighing machine, crates, so it is increasing their assets, and we are paying them a premium price and giving them assured market.
પહેલા તો મારે શું કરવું પડે કે બધા સ્કૂલ વાળાને પૂછવું પડે કે તમે કેટલું શાકભાજી મારું લેશો, બરાબર? તો એ પણ બધું અલગ અલગ કરીને બધાને આપવું પડે. હવે તો અજય ટોપલી વાળા કે એ લોકો મને કીધું કે ભાઈ તમે બધું જેવું ઉગાડે બધું તમારે લઈ જવાનું.
तो जैसे वेजिटेबल्स आता है तो उसे हम करते हैं, जो भी वेजिटेबल्स है उससे बाहर निकाल देते हैं, सही वेजिटेबल्स रखते हैं, प्रॉपर वे करते हैं और पैकेज बनाते हैं, हम डिलीवर करते हैं। जो देसी गायों के प्रिजर्वेशन का जो ब्रांड है, उसमें देसी गाय रखने वाले छोटे छोटे फार्मर्स हैं, उनको गायों का साइंटिफिक ब्रीडिंग करने के लिए अच्छी जेनेटिक क्वालिटी के बुल्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं, तो वहां पे हम एज अ फैसिलिटेटर अच्छा सा बुल प्रोक्योर करके उनको मिनिमम कंट्रीब्यूशन लेके दे रहे हैं. ऊंचा भाव મળવાના લીધે અમારા લોકોને બધાને બહુ સરસ ગાયોને સારું ખવડાવે છે, એમનું અમારે ચાલે છે અને ગાયો માટે ધનકૂટ ઊંચા લાવે છે અને ક્વોલિટી સુધારે છે. पूरा प्रोसेस होता है, उसमें वाटर कंटेंट है नहीं वो हम चेक करते हैं और सिटी एरिया में हम होम डिलीवर करते हैं. डीबीएस से अभी फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट मिला है हमको, खुद की लाइवलीहुड सपोर्ट करने के लिए स्टाइपेंड मिलता है और जो वेंचर है उसके लिए सीड कैपिटल मिलता है. उनके फाइनेंशियल और मेंटरिंग सपोर्ट के बिना ये जर्नी डिफिकल्ट हो जाती थी. उसी की वजह से इतने कम टाइम में ये वेंचर इतने अच्छे स्टेज पे है.
So if you see these two cases, it is very clear that social entrepreneurship is not only about thinking, it's about owning the problem and taking responsibility. It is all about taking first step forward, that is doing or initiating some intervention to solve the problem. It's all about doing, not only about thinking. So if you compare all these cases, it two three things, I mean all the important aspect of social entrepreneurship is very clear. Like if you see these two cases, both have identified problem as opportunity, social problem as opportunity, because first has started to improve the environmental problem and the second was to help the farmers to improve their income. So it is clear that social entrepreneurs always see social problems as opportunity and they are committed to solve that social problem. If you see the value proposition in both the cases, not only they were creating social value, environmental value, but both are registered as private limited company, so they are creating the economic value as well. Not only this, apart from their performance on all these triple bottom line, they were also creating values for all the stakeholder, beneficiaries, partners, and what, with the help of collaboration and co-creation. In fact, in Krishi Natural case, the whole milk business was started with the demand that his existing consumers, they demanded, you are providing the organic vegetable, why you are not providing us the milk? And that's why Ketan had to start and the finance was also contributed by his own customers. So this is, like you can say, the co-creation, the whole process of co-creation and collaboration. If you see the resource mobilization, both the cases, they started with their intervention in the completely resource constrained environment. So the role of creativity and innovation is very important, and at the same time the existing network and building multiple new network in different sectors. Like if you're working in voluntary sector, you have to develop collaboration with government sector, corporate sector as well, for solving the problem and creating value. Innovation, like innovation, we generally, it's our perception, it is that it is innovation is restricted something only to product, but it is not like that. In social entrepreneurship, innovation is all about doing small experimentation, because if you see the whole model of Sampurna Earth is very innovative, because he has employed the rag pickers as their own employees, providing sustainable solution. So he is creating again the Krishi Natural, their finance, the chilling plant was actually mainly financed by his existing customers. It is one kind of innovation in the financial model. So not only they were solving the problem, but in the process of solving the problem, they were creating new opportunities as well. So as an entrepreneur, they are changing the whole discourse So why do we call them social entrepreneurs? Social entrepreneurs are individuals who solve social problems and create social value, and that's why they are known as change agent. They have entrepreneurial mind, and they innovate, and the process of solving the social problem is actually social entrepreneurship, where the same entrepreneurial approach is used to solve social problem. And what is social enterprise? To solve the social problem, they create an organization which is known as social enterprise. So I with this I will conclude that lots of social problems are there, and fresh perspective is required to solve social problem, not only for solving that particular problem but also for contributing towards our country's development and further to sustainable development. If you see these two cases, both have created blended value, and these values are created for all the stakeholders using the entrepreneurial mindset. And if you see today's world, people with entrepreneurial mind, they are needed everywhere, whether it is public, voluntary, or private sector. And the students from all the disciplines must learn about social entrepreneurship. And here comes our responsibilities as educators. And social entrepreneurship, because it is multidisciplinary construct, multidisciplinary, it provides a common platform to all from different disciplines to come together for co-creation to solve social problem efficiently and in sustainable manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana ma'am. Our next speaker for today's FDP is Professor Satyajit Majumdar. Sir is also a professor at the Center for Social Entrepreneurship, School of Management and Labor Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Sir has worked with Coal India Limited for about 12 years as maintenance and project engineer. He is currently associated with startups and small businesses as mentor and consultant in areas of strategy design and business development. Sir has dedicated and committed himself to make India a country full of entrepreneurial talent to train youngsters in the same area. Sir's topic for the session is social entrepreneurship for social problem solving. We welcome you. Over to Satyajit, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Namaste and good morning. I hope I'm.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let me share my screen. Just give me a second.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the invite, the faculty team from Hinduja College, and it's my privilege. I feel very happy to come here and join the session, and also share my thoughts. And of course, your college is doing great work. You're really doing a very meaningful work in undergraduate and postgraduate education. Of course, you have doctoral programs also. So it's my privilege. It's my proud privilege to be a part of this session. So what I'm going to do is I'll kind of continue my discussion where Archana left, my colleague Archana left, and she concluded that social entrepreneurs are needed in the time, and social entrepreneurship actually solves a problem. So I'm just picking up threads from there, getting into more to the discussion of social enterprise creation. So that's a kind of logical extension of where we left the last presentation. I tried to make my presentation for 30 minutes, maybe a little bit variation, and you may sort of warn me if I'm going too much on the on exceeding on the time. So the premise on which I'm going to discuss social entrepreneurship, because I have been a researcher in the discipline of entrepreneurship, both business and social entrepreneurship. And also, I consider entrepreneurs as strategists. And when I say entrepreneurs, most of them start small. So certainly small business is another domain which excites me. And I see very unique strategy being designed by small businesses. And I have quite a few publications in entrepreneurship, entrepreneur as strategy, small business strategy, etc. Certainly when I do this kind of case studies, and when I search for the concepts and the theories, sorry, uh, I also look at the business model, and also my interest area is strategic CSR, which is also from the perspective of what Archana also referred as creating social impact by the corporates. So I really admire business and social entrepreneurs for a simple reason that they have a lot of gut feeling. They have a lot of strength. They are very courageous people. They try to do things different, or they try to do things differently. And I find them very smart, very energetic, very different, very profound. So some of them actually really impresses me a lot. So of course, I'm going to discuss one such case in a minute or so. So what I'm saying is the discipline of enterprise creation excites me, both from the business and social entrepreneurship perspective. And I believe that social entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs. So if you ask me who are they, so I'll say they are the entrepreneurs, right? Because they are the entrepreneur who define their purpose, okay, of social mission, which Archana was also discussing. So certainly it's important for us to understand what does a social entrepreneur do. So that's the story about. So I'm using a case study documented by me. This case study is about a company called, I'll call this company a social enterprise called Manipal.net, which is slightly different from the cases which Archana explained. And I have a little bit more strategic argument on this case study. So I consider Dr. Narasimha Bhatt, founder of this company, as social entrepreneur. And here is the story about. So what problem Narasimha Bhatt tried to solve? And basically, he tried to solve the problem of employability with the highly skilled technologies. So what he said is all the talented people, extraordinary talented people, they don't stay at home. They don't stay with family. They don't stay in the villages, and they don't stay with the hometowns, at the hometowns, because they like to move out. The talent pool needed of their kind is needed not in their hometowns and cities or villages. They are needed outside. So the issue is these people don't find meaningful employability options, right? And despite family needing them, they leave their place. And I'm not saying they're migrant. Okay, they're migrant of a different kind. But what I'm saying, their talents are needed at a place in a companies, maybe in the Bangalore or in Gurgaon or maybe in other places of the globe. So they're not needed in their hometowns. They're needed elsewhere. So profession pulls them out from their locations. So this has been the journey of Dr. Narasimha Bhatt as well, because I know him personally. And when he decided to come back from US, and he was working in a great company in Silicon Valley, one of the foremost technologies, most wanted technology in his discipline. So in profession, he was doing great. He was earning pretty good. The family is happy. The people are doing great things. And he has been recognized as a technologist, a cutting edge technologist. So nothing wrong so far as the profession is concerned. But suddenly he found that his father is diagnosed with cancer. And he thought that at this point of time, he should stay with his father, should stay with the family as long as the father is alive. So he was in a desperate need to come back. But Manipal was not the place where he can get employment for himself. So that's his personal journey, which is kind of felt by him very badly. So what he did is, instead of cribbing for the situation, instead of blaming the system, instead of blaming the people outside world, he thought that can he challenge the norm? Okay, so instead of so challenge the norm, that's what we call as the concept in entrepreneurship as a flipping. Okay, flipping the problem, right? So if you say that not finding a compatible job in your hometown, okay, because of the simple reason that you don't have jobs available to you, okay, can we challenge this norm? So instead of person going to the job, can job come to the person? So that's what we call as flipping. And that's very entrepreneurial way of doing the things. Okay, that's entrepreneurial problem solving, which Archana was also referring to. So that's what he tried to challenge. What happens, I'll explain you after some time. So here is an enterprise, okay, with a social mission to address this issue. Okay, that means talented technologists, people with a high profile, high talent, high skill, okay, need not leave their hometown or home village. Okay, they can stay there and find a meaningful employment where they don't feel themselves as underemployed. Okay, so that's the concept of the enterprise, and that's what I call Manipal.net as a enterprise with social mission. So he challenged the structure. Okay, uh, how do we do that? So what I'm saying is, suppose the next person who lives in Manipal is a biotech technologist, okay, and the company is not in biotechnology business, okay. So will Manipal.net consider him as potential employee, okay, a potential technologist to be employed, okay, because that's not the business of Manipal.net. How Manipal.net carry forward the business of biotechnology, which is not the core domain of the company, right? So what he says, even this structure is has to be challenged. So it's not challenging the norm, but challenging the structure also. So what he says, let the technology who wants to stay in Manipal, the 20-kilometer periphery of Manipal, with right technological talent, right technological acumen, right technological expertise, okay, come to me, okay. I'll create a team. I'll create a pool of people, okay, who will work with him to create a business out of his talent. So it's the other way around. Normally what we do is we create a business and start recruiting people. Here, business is created around the person, right? Not business is following, a person is not following the business. So I hope I could make my point clear. There are two types of norms which are being challenged in this context. So it's a very unique value proposition this enterprise offers. Okay, so it's a company with a hardware and software business which works in technology domain of energy, low power consumption, security, and surveillance. It works in innovative and competitively priced technology solutions to the customers because it operates in a place which is actually not having very high cost of operation. Rents are very low. The salaries are also not the Bangalore salary. The cost of living is very reasonable. So there's no question of incurring very high operational cost. So when your operational cost is reasonable, but your quality is equally compatible to the international quality, certainly you have a competitive advantage. So that's the advantage this company had. So certainly it provided meaningful employment to the technology at or near their hometowns so that they can remain close to the family. So what Archana was referring to as stakeholder engagement, so that's precisely the stakeholder value proposition mapping I have been trying to do. So what did social entrepreneur Nasim Bhatt do? So he did simple things. Okay, the simple thing. He saw a problem which others did not. Okay, others succumbed to the problem, but he said, no, there is a possibility of my interference in the problem. So he felt associated with the problem. He felt that the problem belongs to him and problem belongs to several or millions of people who feel this kind of pain. Okay, so he articulated multiple dimensions of the problem, thought through very deep, okay, to seeking a solution from outside. Rather than seeking solution from the outside, he thought, let the solution come from me. So that's precisely entrepreneurial responsibility, which typical entrepreneur or business or social entrepreneur owns. That is my responsibility, it's my problem. I own it, I'll have to do something about it. So, and he attempted various solutions to arrive at the most feasible one. So certainly we try out several small experiments and see what works and what doesn't work. He has actually done it. I'm not getting into detail of that. So there are several things which didn't work. So he just kept them aside. But the thing which started working, he tried to push it hard, push it forward to create an enterprise model. So he strengthened the solution which created positive results. So certainly mobilizing multiple stakeholders around the problem and creating an ecosystem, creating a social enterprise, okay, around the problem is something which is very critical for social enterprise creation. So I conclude with the statement, with the case study, with the statement that entrepreneurs are the individuals who solve problem and bring new and positive hope. Okay, entrepreneurs are not giving up kind of people. Okay, social entrepreneurs or business entrepreneurs, they don't give up. They don't blame the situation outside. Rather, they work with the situation outside to make them favorable. So you will find any adverse situation is an opportunity. Okay, and my statement goes with the current situation of COVID also. So I would make a statement that COVID is an opportunity, and I'll try to conclude a little bit at the end of my discussion. So how social entrepreneurs approach the problem? So they're approaching the problem is not they don't have a solution in my head. They don't have an idea in their head to solve the problem. Rather, they do the other way around. They understand the problem, deep dive into the problem, they immerse in the problem, and they tried out multiple options, multiple small options, multiple small possibilities, new possibilities, and try out several things. So they are the people who conduct several small experiments to see what is doable, what is workable. Okay, and something works, something doesn't work. What works, they try to push it a little more. What doesn't work, they try to go back to the drawing board, learn from lessons from them, etc. So basically, they attach value to the problem, not without any bias to the solution. So they are not a person who is sitting with the ego of having the best solution. They are the people who have a zeal, who have a fire in the belly to solve the problem. Okay, so they have a very, very deep-rooted belief that the person, I can solve the problem. I'm the person who has to take responsibility to solve the problem, and I'm the person who will collaborate, who will create multi-dimensional collaborations to bring different stakeholders like me together to create something which is doable. And that's what probably what we call as, in management jargon, we call it as co-creation. So they believe in co-creation of enterprise. So the dimension which I would like to present here is they work on three dimensions, three precise dimensions: the problem, which I've discussed quite a bit, stakeholders, which I referred just now, and the social entrepreneur. So problem map is a kind of complex mapping of all these three factors, and every factor will have multiple variables, right? So if you see the picture within the box, it looks very, very unique. It looks very different. If I ask you to write a mathematical model, probably you won't be able to do that. Okay, because it's very complex. It's very, very, very complex, very, very difficult, I would say, in that sense, right? But it's not difficult for the entrepreneur. Okay, they can explain. They can explain why the curve look like this, why the curve is so zigzag. So difficult to understand. So this complexity of understanding is very clear when social entrepreneurs bring forward the solution and articulate on the problem. So what we are saying is, when they start creating an enterprise, social enterprise, okay, they try to look at the problem and they try to articulate a solution. They try to implement a solution. They try to own the problem and own the solution to create sustainable social value, social economical environment, which my colleague Archana has also talked about a few minutes back. So social entrepreneurs, they attach value in problem mapping because problem is identified them. They are the people who identify the problem. The problem is not given to them. They articulate on the problem. They see the problem and absorb the problem. So problem is taken by them, and they associate with the stakeholder. They try to modify, redefine, change the rule, change the system, as Narasimha Bhatt did. He challenged the norm, he challenged the structure. So these are the people who keep challenging. Okay, they are the people who kind of see the rules and systems very differently and try to sell the idea on the problem more than the product and services, right? So you will see they are very articulative. They are very, very strong in explaining why this problem need to be solved rather than why this product need to be sold. I think that's the fundamental difference between an entrepreneurial solution and otherwise. So it's a process, right? And when you are engaged in such a complex process, such a deep-rooted processes, it's possible that there would be stakeholder conflict, because if you try to bring multiple stakeholder, every stakeholder will bring his or her own perspective, his or her own value expectation, and they will try to argue that this value is more important than the other value. So there is a value trade-off. Social enterprises have to do value trade-off. You can't have a maximization of all the value by the social enterprises. It's always not possible. It's most of the time value optimization, if I put it in a technical language. So in the process, when you try to do optimization of the value, there will be a conflict, okay? And the person engaged in conflict resolution more than anybody else. So they are very smart conflict resolution experts in the space. When we do that, there is obviously a process of managing risk which they learn. So I'm not very comfortable by using the expression which we find in most of the textbooks of entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurs are risk takers. I think I don't agree much of those kind of statements. Those are more bankers' statement. They are the statement of the financial institution because they see a risk. Okay, entrepreneurs manage risk. They learn management of the risk. In the process, sometimes they lose money, they earn money. That doesn't matter. There is a social risk, there is an environmental risk, there is a financial risk. So what, right? So they manage risk. And these are the people, as I said before, they are the people not giving up kind. Okay. So I'm trying to set, for the rest of my presentation, I'm trying to set some vocabulary, standardizing the vocabulary so that when we use this word, we are reasonably clear that what we are referring to. So when I refer the word entrepreneur, I'm referring the person. When I refer the word enterprise, I'm referring the entity. You may call it as a company or a NGO, private limited company or a Section 8 company, etc. When I call as when I refer to entrepreneurship, I'm referring to the process of enterprise creation. When I refer value, which Archana has also discussed, the offering to benefit the primary stakeholder or the customer. And if it is customer, that's the value customer is willing to pay for, right? And the business plan is basically the rationale, is the schematic, okay, what we put together for the communication and for the purpose of making the plan clear. And when we refer to business model refers to the elements of fit. Okay, how do you fit the things together? How do you look at as a model? So I'm not going to discuss all of them in detail, but I'm trying to make the terminology little simple and little clear so that we can connect the words, a specific word to a specific reason or specific context. It's important because we all are teachers, right? When we teach, we should know in what context we are using a particular terminology. So I'm challenging the prevailing norm that the way we teach entrepreneurship in the universities and colleges across globe, not only in India, across globe, that I have a great idea and we do ideathon, we do hackathon, we do several of such events, and we believe that here is a great idea and that will create a great enterprise. That doesn't happen. Okay, it doesn't happen that way, right? How it happens? Here is an idea which will undergo several churning, which will undergo several filters to define the feasibility. And while defining the feasibility, it's not linear journey, it's a multi-layer journey, it's a spiral journey, right? And every feasibility will be tested on a managerial action, okay, in terms of supply chain management, financial management, marketing, branding, everything, yeah? And that leads to an enterprise creation. So it's not a very straightforward journey from idea to enterprise. It's not that. It's a journey from idea to feasibility, feasibility to action. And of course, this happens back and forth number of times, and that's how a good enterprise gets created. So good enterprise is not a linear journey. It's a quite spiral journey. I would like to say that. So successful social enterprise follow simple steps, simple principles and processes, which I'm trying to define in 3 steps. And I'll explain these 3 steps, and maybe after that, we can have some conclusion on how do you look at the situation post-COVID. So the first step is at the first stage, we are saying that how and why the social entrepreneur find the problem close to him or her. I think that's the first question. Why do you think this is a problem? Why others are not thinking? So I have simple pointers, okay? Because all the social entrepreneurs, okay, have aspiration to change something, have aspiration to do something which is prevailing, which disturbs them. They don't like the solutions. They don't like the way things are being done. So aspiration to solve the problem, or aspiration which he or she attaches in the problem space, is very fundamental to say that here is a possibility of enterprise creation. And it's very personal. It's very emotional. It's very, very, I would say, cognitive in the minds of the people, okay, which cannot be challenged, okay. And that's why sometimes you will see the people are very passionate about their problem. People are very passionate about the solutions as well. The second is entrepreneurs are self-driven and self-motivated. Nobody can motivate them externally. Okay, entrepreneurs derive their motivation from inner self, right? They may consult people at the time when they feel frustrated. They can discuss. They can find mentors. Mentoring is very critical. Coaching is also critical. Okay, but not that somebody will tell them, "Hey, guy, you should become an entrepreneur." Okay, here is the time to become an entrepreneur. I think ecosystem is built up for people to take advantage of the ecosystem, but ecosystem cannot enforce that somebody should become an entrepreneur. For this, immersion is critical. And when I say immersion, I want deep dive into the problem space, deeper understanding, deeper engagement in the problem space. So in the second stage, which is more structural, which is not emotional, which is not personal, is established case for enterprise. And here's the difficulty. The second stage is far more critical, far difficult. And here we find a lot of people falling flat. I'm associated with several startups as mentor. And here people find difficulty in kind of talking to me. They say it's too tough. You're asking too tough questions, too difficult things to me. Okay. So what are the tough questions? Tough question is, what is the compelling reason to select this problem? What has been done so far? Okay. By whom? Where else? Okay. Hard to answer this question. But nevertheless, those who are capable of answering these questions are the ones who come very strong. Because we incubate, as Archana said, that we have an incubation center. We incubate our graduates. We incubate many who are not our graduates. Very senior technologists, people in mid-40s and mid-50s are also our incubatees. So here is a question which is posed to them to sort of understand, is there a need for a solution? What is wrong in the existing solution? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, what is the problem map, which I have discussed. So what are the interplay of different dimensions, namely social, cultural, economic, political, technological, etc. And how this multiple dimensions, if you remember, I talked about multiple dimension a few minutes back, how this multiple dimension collectively relevant to the problem, how they affect. Some problems are very regulatory in nature. Some solutions are very regulatory dominant, but some are very culturally placed. Okay, so how this interplay, how this complexity of interplay works. Then the third set of questions are, what would be the approach and strength to solve the problem? So here we are questioning the person. Okay, what is his strength? Okay, doesn't mean that the person has to be expert in all the disciplines. He can have a team. He can pool resources from the other sources. Okay, so what are the new discourses the person is trying to bring in? Narasimha Bhatt brought a new discourse that instead of people going to the work, work can come to the people. That's the new discussion, new discourse. The narrative of employment can change. Okay, so why this need to be changed? Why you think that this change is needed? So because social entrepreneurs are basically the change creators, they are change makers, right? So why this change is needed, and how different stakeholder or how primary stakeholder derive a value of it, how different stakeholder will derive a value from it, how customers are going to pay. When Ketan goes for selling a vegetable, when Ketan goes and selling A2 milk, okay, why is that the customers find value in them? Why customers are willing to pay, and so on and so forth. Then the fourth question is, what are the explicit social, economic, and environmental values will be created in the problem context? What will change? What are the impact is going to happen? Okay, and how this discourse, how this narrative is going to be unique? What is the innovation here? So what type of questions? Everybody is doing it. So what, right? So this so what type of answer is something very critical when we try to put some structural questions to enterprise creation, which I call as a case for enterprise. So I'll put it in a simple way that every now and then, almost every moment, we are asking this person to check the feasibility triangle in place or not. And I'll put technology feasibility. Technology is, I'm not going to define what I mean by technology at this point of time for the benefit of time. So basically technology, I put it as know-how, right? So how this know-how makes the market feasible, makes the operation feasible, make the financial feasible. And I'm putting it as an equilateral triangle. That means all the three are important, rather all the four are important, right? And we'll have to balance out all the four on a continuous basis. So when I look at this, basically I'm saying, look at the feasibility. If it is feasible, develop the capability. And or vice versa. If you're capable, see that your capability is used from the feasibility lens, right? So feasibility and capability have to move together. These are almost the two rails of the railway track. They will have to move together. One of them will not solve the purpose. Both of them have to move together to speed up the development. What Archana was referring to, the new development discourse which social enterprises bring in. So basically it's a continuous journey of feasibility and capability, which the social entrepreneurs have to sort of manage every now and then and try to strike a balance. It's difficult to strike a balance, but nevertheless, that's what entrepreneurship is all about. So when I refer to capability, what I mean is the founders and the social entrepreneurs, the persons, okay, the team and the organization, okay, the people and the organization as a whole, organization as an entity. So it's important for us to now understand the third stage, what creates a business model. Because unless it creates a business model, it's not viable, it doesn't work. In the market economics, it doesn't work, right? So how does it happen? So when we say, how does it happen? Again, I'm posing four fundamental questions. First is, what is the existing value chain? Okay, how stakeholders receive value? Okay, I'm not debating about for-profit, non-profit, or Section 8 company, because everybody creates value. It's only the financial model which is different depending on the problem and the stakeholder engagement. So the question is, who will be responsible for the operation, where and how, what is the technology available, etc. So I think that's the first set of questions, mapping the value chain and putting some actions and asking people who will do what kind of situation. The second set of questions are the financial implication. Who will pay for it? It's a non-profit entity. I think somebody else will pay. Donors will pay. Okay. If it is a company or it's an enterprise, business enterprise, probably the customers will pay. Sometimes it is highly subsidized space where government probably subsidize a little bit and the customer pay a part of it. Okay. So who will pay for what? That's the kind of situation we are referring to. Then what is the scale of volume? Because every enterprise has a particular scale and volume where it becomes viable. So not any scale is doable, right? So it's the question of, is there any justifiable number? Is there a critical mass of the problem which makes it possible? So, and that's what I'm referring to scale. scope, or both. So you may call it as economies of scale, economies of scope, or both the economies, scope and scale. Maybe that can be the way we can articulate this question. And the last one is, what are the markets? What are the opportunities? Is the market dormant? Is it readily available? Is it not readily available? Is it to be created? Is the market is lucrative enough? Because at the end of the day, the enterprise has to be self-sustaining, financially sustaining. So what is the structure? Okay, what is the situation of the market? What is the market structure? Is it too much price sensitive? Is it too much access sensitive? Is it too much sensitive to the regulatory environment? So we can question on that, and that's where the market attractiveness could be answered. So I'll conclude now with the statement that social and business entrepreneurs create feasible solution to the problems, and that's the premise on which I have sort of narrated how enterprise gets created by solving a problem. And problems form the basis of entrepreneurial opportunity. So any amount of problem is an opportunity for entrepreneurship, right? And that's what I said, that COVID is a problem space. So here is a basket full of opportunity. So entrepreneur create new and positive hope in solving this problem. And some, as I said before, in the case of Narasimha Bhatt, Manipal.net, I said that they challenge the norm. They create a new norm. They create a positive hope. So that's the premise of problem solving. So if you look at the problems floating around when we talk about COVID-19, I think we have several problems. We have several issues. We have issues of supply chain management. We have issues of global supply chain management. We have issues of shortage of drugs. In fact, we don't know which are the drugs, right? We have issues of diagnostics. We have issues of laboratories. We have issues of hospital beds. We have issues of nutrition. We have issues of food. Okay, so we have several issues. We have that's what I say. We have basket full of problem. If we have basket full of problem, what I'm saying, here is a world of opportunity. Okay, where startups or young entrepreneurs can innovate, and they can find several things to work for, and they can explore various solutions. They can conduct several experiments. The structure, the system, the ecosystem is very favorable. Government and non-government entities, there are many people who are helping us, including investors. So they can experiment and they can express themselves in terms of new value proposition, new discourse, new narrative to solve the problem. So I feel happy to participate in this discussion, and I thank the organizers for inviting me. And I'll be happy to answer the questions if there are any questions. Otherwise, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So we'll take the questions at the end of the session, sir. We have many questions actually.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would now like to welcome Uday Wankawala, sir. Sir is Chief Executive Officer, Atal Incubation Center, Rambhav Malgi Prabodhini. Sir has been active in the Indian startup ecosystem as a collaborator, facilitator, and motivator since 2010. He is involved in envisioning, planning, and providing overall leadership to AIC RMP with the objective of nurturing and supporting new age entrepreneurs for New Age India. Sir has traveled all over India, addressing over 50,000 students, covering 300 plus academic campuses, including IITs, IIMs, and NITs on entrepreneurship. Sir's outstanding work is, Sir is certified instructional designer and has successfully completed entrepreneurship educators course offered by NE and Stanford Technology Ventures program. Sir has traveled more than 20,000 kilometers during October 2016 to March 17 period, where he has visited many cities, Indore, Surat, Nagpur, Nasik, Gwalior, and goes on, apart from Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, to study and build a strong entrepreneurship ecosystem in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Sir, we warmly welcome you to start the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. I hope so I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So first and foremost, good to see Dr. Antra. It's been almost, I believe, 6 to 7 years.
Many years, yes, many years.
Good to see mentors like Professor Satyajit out there. We travel to Indore for National Entrepreneurship Award Scheme. It's a family. It's a community that I've been a
Yes.
part of, and it's so wonderful. Good to see Dr. Rachna Singh as well from TIS campus. So thank you, Hinduja College, for organizing this, inviting me
Our
for,
pleasure, sir.
and very important also EdFly, which is one of our incubatees. So thanks to EdFly for taking all the pains and organizing this. And reaching out to, I believe we had more than 2,000 plus kind of registration, and we have close to 700 to 800 viewers now. So without much further ado, let me just straight away get on to, as you would have seen from my introduction, you would have got to know that I'm more of an entrepreneur who has learned from on-ground experiences. My experiences with entrepreneurs, including student entrepreneurs as well. And at times I've seen even faculty taking up a role of mentor, mentoring entrepreneurs, and a few of them becoming entrepreneurs themselves. So I believe that is very important at this juncture. And a lot of things what Professor Satyajit covered, it resonates, and something that I'm gonna not duplicate or have the similar things, but would like to add value to what he has really said based on my experiences. So I'll keep it pretty much short, 20 minutes, and then maybe we'll take up Q&A. So here we go. I hope so the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you so much. So whenever we talk of social entrepreneurship, whenever we talk of social enterprises, founders, I mean, there is always a sort of a question where to start, right? And that's what I always talk to people, that before looking at the ideas and also which Professor Satyajit rightly said, that for social enterprise, it's not something about the business that you really start looking at or the idea part of it. Is more about the problems that you want to solve. And these are real problems that are there on ground. You need to come up with real solutions. But before that, एक और चीज रहती है जो बहुत important है सबके लिए, including the faculty members, is self. And do I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, or do I have what it takes to be a mentor for entrepreneur? That is what is very important for you to understand. And I put it as good business opportunity. The reason being, as a social enterprise as well, it has to have a good business model. So do you have a good opportunity to start? And what Professor Satyajit talked about the COVID and all that, I would say, yeah, this is the right opportunity. Rather, at our Atal Incubation Center, Rambhav, Malgi, Prabodhini, we have taken a few initiatives looking at the current opportunity, and we believe that entrepreneurship and innovation is answer to this. So please do your SWOT analysis, mainly checking on your strengths. That's what I always talk about to entrepreneurs, because what's going to happen is for your weaknesses and other things which you are not good at, you may find a co-founder who would complement those things. So first and foremost is your strengths, work upon your strengths. And there would always be a question that I'm really excited about the future, but there would be a fear of failure. If you are a kind of a person who would have always relied on your academics and who would have relied on your results, looking at your grades, sorry to say, but then not all the times entrepreneurship is a kind of a career option for you, because you would have gone through the flow and through the path which others would have gone in, and you try to compare yourself with others most of the times. Entrepreneurship is all about excelling yourself, having yourself as a benchmark, not keeping others as benchmarks. Yeah, sure, you would have certain rankers, you would keep them as benchmarks, but it's the life, entrepreneurial life is not about grades. It's about learning every day. So that is what you need to. And the other part is, if you are of a person who would have a lot of societal pressures, there are a lot of factors. Please understand, if your family they don't allow, or there are pressures around you and some commitments which would not allow you to take up entrepreneurship, please take a wise sort of a decision and go ahead with this journey. Because once you have taken this up, you can't look back, or you can't turn around your decision and then say that, hey, ठीक है, मैंने 6 महीने try किया, नहीं workout हुआ. ऐसे नहीं होता है. One of the things every entrepreneur that I've talked to, including the social entrepreneurs, they practice 10,000 hours sort of a thing, and then they really evaluate themselves whether they are successful or failure. Again, the success and failure is very subjective. In social enterprises, I always say that the most important part is, if you see a smile on the face of your stakeholder at the end of the day. That is what you should have your success parameter as. And you are able to provide jobs, you are able to provide real solution, if at all, if you can work out on those things, and that is all about intent, I think that's good enough. So बाकी सब चीजें बाद में देखी जाएगी, पहले अपने आप को evaluate कीजिए, and that is where my objective of the session is I'm going to talk about few important traits that gonna have. So traits are more of kind of features, and this is what we evaluate when any social enterprises or entrepreneurs come to our incubation center as well. कि entrepreneur में क्या trait है, क्या qualities है, and how do we really differentiate social enterprises as well. And I'm going to talk about couple of cases. I'm sure these are the cases from our colleges, and then that's gonna really help you, and also share 5 to 6 examples or set of incubatees that we have at our incubation center in the first cohort. These are all social enterprises. The whole idea is through these examples, you learn that what are those in and around problems that you can solve. What are those ideas? I'm sure with this sort of ideas, there will be more innovations coming in, because I think I heard Dr. Rachna saying it's not about innovation, it's more about the problem solving. And also innovation is not about kind of new. Most of the times we have this kind of a tendency that we say that innovation is all about coming up with something altogether new. Please understand, that's restricted to Steve Jobs and few innovators, not to people like us. 0.101% are Steve Jobs. They would come with a lot of innovative things. Even if you copy certain ideas, improve upon that, that is also termed as innovation, because you are solving problems. So I'm also going to talk about what are the opportunities or ideas that are there within the ecosystem while you are studying, and what are the different platforms. First and foremost, as an individual, yes, self, and very important, the passionate part about it. If you are passionate about what you are trying to do or what you are trying to solve, I think that's the most important thing, and that comes in through your articulation, which Professor Satyajit talked about. You need to be articulative, and that's where, because social enterprises is all about taking people together and having a movement and a community. That's very important. If you are more of a person who's passionate, but at the same point of time articulative, then you have to be in this particular space. You have to have a mission. I have not specifically talked about purpose or vision out here, because it's a journey. You may kind of find out your purpose over a period of time. That could be after 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, or I've seen people in their entire life not finding the vision or purpose of their life as well. So don't worry, guys, that's perfectly fine. You just need to find out what is it, that mission, what is it that you want to change, what is that critical aspect, what is it that you want to really solve a problem. Find out that problem first, and that problem has to be identified through real on-ground research, not through Google research. We have seen a lot of students, we have seen a lot of enterprises nowadays coming up with Google researched ideas or problems. You have to be there on the ground. That's where the innovation would come in. So that's what the mission would come in, through a real problem, through a real change maker. And that's where, please understand, social enterprises or entrepreneurs are called as change makers as well. You are there to change the status quo, whatever that's been happening around, and you are there to solve problems. So have a mission. Very, very important. If you have the mission, then people would be able to relate to you and then be with you. You have to have self-belief. You have to be confident about, because when you will start off, there would be a lot of people around you, right from your family to friends to other people around, saying that, hey, and there is this word, right? तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. So ये पहली चीज आएगी सबके लिए कि नहीं हो सकता है, and that is where you need to prove them wrong over a period of 3 to 6 months initial journey. But don't continue your journey with that purpose in mind कि मुझे दूसरे किसी को गलत दिखाना है या गलत prove करना है, because your journey is completely different. The ones that who would say that you won't be able to make it are the ones who's going to join you maybe 3 months, 6 months down the line, or support you. So this is the third important aspect. The last, and I believe that very important aspect, is be truthful. As a social enterprise, you need to have guts, you need to have all the confidence, and you need to be truthful about what you are doing. If you are making losses, if you are not able to sustain, reach out and talk to people and take support from them. People would appreciate the truthful part of your entrepreneurial journey. So there is a word jugaad in India. I believe that has been now pretty much abused. I would say you need to be jugadu, you need to be street smart, but jugadu with ethical kind of things within that. If you are jugadu, trying to con people, trying to come out with some sort of excuses, आराम से लोगों को समझ में आ जाएगा. And please understand, you are on a journey to, it's a long-term journey, right? It's almost 5 to 7 years that you will take to build up your enterprise. So you have to be truthful right at the beginning, right from your strengths to your team, to your stakeholders. What is it that you are doing? You need to talk to a lot of people and talk to them about even COVID. What we are seeing right now is people are truthful to us as our incubatees and telling us, sir, kuch nahi ho raha hai abhi hamare businesses mein. Sale kuch nahi hai. I mean, that's everyone is affected. So people would understand that. Don't come up with, so there is a thin line of overconfidence and confidence. There is a thin line of jugaad and jugaad with ethics. So truthful is all about that. And I have included one part which is irrespective whether you are a social enterprise or not, is about people and resource management. I think that is what you need to be really good at. That you need to manage people and you need to manage resources as well, very well. You need to be very, very kind of, you have to really know exactly what all skills the people bring in and how you can use those skills and make them as a team member. You look at different resources because you have limited resources when you start off with. And at times as a social entrepreneur or a founder, you really need to do everything. So these are the two important things that you need to really identify and then have not just kind of deployed, but also they need to be managed well so that they are with you for long term. So these are the personality traits. Whenever you get any students coming in with ideas, check on these parameters. I think that's going to help you a lot. A lot of academic campuses ask me, sir, quantitative and qualitative parameters. I always say that entrepreneurship is both. It's not just only quantitative. Marks se aap nahi grade kar sakte ho kisko. There is qualitative parameters as well. So I've given this qualitative parameters out here. I'm going to talk about two examples. So first I'll take up Shreyansh Bhandari, CEO Greensoul, which I started interacting in the year 2013 from Jai Hind College. Faculty played a very important role out there in Shreyansh Bhandari journey. So what Shreyansh came out with, he was a 19-year-old young boy at that point of time. उन्होंने देखा कि बहुत मैराथन रनर्स है, जॉगर्स है, और 2-3 साल के बाद क्या होता है कि आप you discard those particular shoes, those marathon runners and joggers, because what really happens is outer layer gets pretty much kind of wear and tear हो जाता है उसका. So that is where he came up with an idea, and then he had a co-founder who came from who's from a very kind of underprivileged background and a modest background from a slum area, and he said that Shreyansh, हमारे यहाँ पे तो इतने सारे बच्चे हैं, उनके पास पहनने के लिए चप्पल नहीं है. And that is where this particular kid, the idea struck, the eureka moment, and what he came up with is जो ये marathon runners और joggers के शूज रहते हैं, उसका सोल अगर आप देखोगे इंटैक्ट रहता है, अंदर का जो सोल रहता है वो इंटैक्ट रहता है. He came up with a machine and then he said that इसको कट करके हम लोग चप्पल बनाएंगे और ये स्लम एरिया में हम देंगे. Amazing idea, right? I mean, and then he had just 3 things when he met us. One was passion, another thing was this idea, third thing was intellectual property, IP. He said that IP मैंने पहले ले लिया है इसका, so that, and some kind of money through parents, family and friends from his family. Nothing more than that. I think with some 15,000 or 20,000 rupees, he started with this enterprise, and now this particular enterprise is looking out for impact investors. Amazing, great role that Jai Hind College played, great role that faculty mentor played, great role that network like us that we were working with. I was working with National Entrepreneurship Network, we played. So that's how you need to really find out such kind of talent, give them resources. Not every time you can be a mentor and then give them everything. You need to look out for resources around you. As I said, people management and resource management. That is what as a faculty and student you need to be really aware of. The second example we have is Smart India Hackathon winner, hardware winners. That is a competition by AI City and MHRD, and the project name is Team Prayas. This is what we pre-incubated. It's a ministry problem statement that came to them, and it was amazing. I mean, the way they came up with a prototype, and this is a product-based solution. It's not a social. It's a social enterprise, if I would look into it, but it's a product. So they came up with. So the problem statement for Team Prayas was that in the hilly region, you would find a lot of people with a back problem, right? And you would see them in their posture as well. जब ये लोग walk करते हैं, because they carry a lot of load. And that is where ministry came up with the problem statement that can you come up with any tool wherein ये जो उनका problem है about carrying load can be reduced to minimum. They came up with Jiggy. So this is nothing but a load carrying, maximizing the load carrying efficiency. And it's a kind of a tool that would reduce the load carrier. This is the problem statement. You can see the different images out here. And this is applied not just only to the Northeast region. This is applied to even construction workers. You would have seen at sites, buildings and all that. The people are facing this particular problem. So again, they came up with this. So engineering students came up with wonderful idea of something like this, a bamboo that they have created through a bamboo, a material or a solution, which is an A-frame structure. And they used SolidWorks, a lot of tools, came up with ergonomics and all those things. And now with this, you can carry up to 70 kg of load without your posture getting affected. Isn't this amazing? I mean, this is on a prototype mode. Now they are kind of having a pilot with a couple of buildings and construction workers. And this is how you really need to look at the problem and come up with the solutions. I'm going to next 5 minutes, I'm going to share very important things about our social enterprises and some sort of their salient features or a kind of each and everyone comes in with a different perspective. Maybe if you have problems around this or if you have solutions around this, you can collaborate with them. So Color Wale, that's kind of one of the startups that we have that uses technology. They want to build a team of women painters. Just imagine, because they themselves hail from Satara, and then they see that a lot of painters out there are all male painters. And then when you give contracts, then, and female, if you would see, I mean, I'm not being very gender sort of a thing person out here, but then please understand, a lot of creativity within women, and then you can use those creativity part of element, and even the women could be painters. So they are building a team of that. Jawar Tourism, they are based in Jawar, as you can see, that's a small place in Palghar, 80 kilometers from Mumbai. And this person, the founder came in with just one slide to us. एक साइड पे था ट्रेन में, जो अभी आप रिवर्स माइग्रेशन की हम जो बात कर रहे हैं कोविड के बाद. So he said, sir, I've got two options. One is because he himself is an engineer and MBA. He said that I've got two options. One is ट्रेन में मैं 25-30,000 का जॉब करके मुंबई जाऊं और जो मेरे गांव वाले सब करते हैं, either I join them and then take up a job, और ट्रेन में उस तरह से स्ट्रगल करूं, या फिर the right hand side, the image was about Jawar, all about the beauty, nature around him, waterfall. He said, I want to revive Jawar tourism. And then he came up with this wonderful idea, which is all around reverse migration and rural livelihood. That is, guys, a real social impact that you want to bring in, that you provide job and employment opportunities to people. What he has come up with is one of his team member is a tattoo artist now, and the tattoos that they do is on Warli art. So Palghar और वो region में, Jawar में आपको tattoo art मिलेगा. And he was in Goa and find out that कि गोवा में सब लोग tattoo करवाते हैं. How about a person from my team getting to learn about tattoo making, and then he makes tattoo of Warli sort of art, and whenever any tourist would go back, they would have that memory. Amazing. So उसमें से वो कुछ आराम से 3,000 to 5,000 that team member is able to earn. He's got plans to do community kitchen and a lot of other interesting self-help groups and domestic products that they have, including bamboo products. So he's going to work on those specific things. Shekru, that's an app for agriculture and farmers. Although we put him into agriculture, but now they have social enterprise is a Section 8 company. So Shekru app, if you would just download, that would give all the information to farmers about schemes from the government. Amazing work, 45,000 downloads, a very focused founder, that is Anand. So amazing work. Rural Caravan is all about creating entrepreneurs or self-help groups from rural economy, and they use technology over there. That's amazing. Very important, Korakari. Now they are into Kolhapuri Chappal. And very apt for this today's session because the founder is Dr. Dilip More, who is a faculty member at one of the campuses in Pune. Now that is where I think there would be questions as a faculty. Please understand, he himself being a faculty kind of took up this mission that the Kolhapuri artisans and the Kolhapuri Chappal art that is dying, right? How do I sustain this particular art? And Indian government looks into it. So that is what his idea is, skill development. His idea is that everyone gets hooked on to Kolhapuri Chappal. Kolhapuri Chappal could be a brand through Korakari. And he's already started selling it at a lot of retail stores. And he's building a team now. San Eco is at very early stage, that is into bamboo. You would have seen bathroom accessories. He's making bathroom accessories, faucets made up of bamboo. Amazing social impact, right? Ennoble is into school beautification, and you would have seen the problems in the rural areas that kids don't have even a place to sit, and they don't have bags. They have created yellow bags, and that's a movement that has been there at the cheapest kind of possible price. They collaborate with corporates and have the CSR funding. With the help of CSR funding, they work with corporates and then work on school beautification so that more and more children get access to what the urban school kids are getting in, right from your sanitation to bags to your boots, that is your footwear, and also beautify so that garden area and all those things. I mean, Noble Social Innovations are doing amazing. The founder, Chirag, his mom, he's a school teacher, and that's where he got this particular idea. Again, I'm trying to relate to the kind of audience that we have out here. EcoBio, they are making straws out of agriculture waste. Amazing innovation. Team Prayas I've already talked about. एक मैं perspective देना चाहूँगा to everyone. How do you generate ideas, or how do you really look at problems? Whenever you try to set up a social enterprise, please understand Sustainable Development Goals by UN. You can see out here, these are 17 sustainable goals. If you can connect to these sustainable goals and work out on your social enterprise, the traction would be much more. And then you would know exactly that this is what you are really working on, because these are the goals till 2030, 2030. And if you would see, this includes everything, right from poverty to education to gender equality to even you have life on land and climate action. So please try to tag your ideas or your solutions around this sustainable development goals. That would give you more traction. Maybe you could start your journey by looking at this sustainable development goals, and then look at which of the things that you really are passionate about and wherein you can make that change. Two things very important I wanted to before, sorry, I've taken 23 minutes. I'm so sorry. Another 2 minutes and then I'll conclude. So one of the myths people have that social enterprises is an easier option than starting a commercial business. Please understand that rather as a social entrepreneur, you'll have to generate profits at times. You have to prove that you are creating measurable positive change and you are improving the planet, or at least not damaging it. So rather, आपकी responsibility ownership ज़्यादा है than any commercial enterprise. So if you are getting into this, please understand why are you going there. So which I talked about purpose, why. That's very important for you to understand. कि अगर आप सिर्फ profits के लिए कर रहे हो and there is no kind of a real problem solving, it's good to start an enterprise. But don't look into the social enterprise space, because social enterprise space, you have a lot of other responsibilities as well. And you have to really be abreast of what is exactly happening on around, right? You really need to be good with your with current affairs. You really need to be good with what's happening in and around in the society, in the world, and you have to come out with problems and solutions around that. This is the last but the most important slide for everyone. Because everyone would say that मेरे पास idea है, I have a problem that I've identified, I want to solve it, but I don't have money or capital. There are few grants or few opportunities or platforms that you need to be a part of. Atal Innovation Mission has got Atal Innovation Challenge. There is a grant of 10 lakhs if you are into product development. Then this grant is from Department of Science and Technology, DST, that is called as Nidhi Prayas. So अगर आप कुछ product idea पे काम कर रहे हो और real technology पे काम कर रहे हो, they give you grant for idea to prototype up to 10 lakhs. Atal Innovation Challenge gives almost a grant which is for even individuals as well if you have good innovations. Look at UNDP, United Nations Development Program, AICT, MHRD, Smart India Hackathon platform, which I talked about, and a lot of other platforms as well. Now, a lot of corporates are coming up with innovation challenges. Look out at P&G has come up, Procter & Gamble has come up. There are a lot of other corporates from different industries like pharma, FMCG. With the COVID problem, they are coming out with innovation challenges. Use those platforms because what they are going to give you is funds and what they are going to give you is recognition. So always look out for such kind of opportunities. My humble request, if you haven't heard about Jagriti Yatra, as a social entrepreneur, I believe that you need to go on that journey of 15 days. I'm not too sure how that's going to happen with the COVID thing, but it's an amazing experience for social enterprises or entrepreneurs when they go through the journey of Jagriti, which is Jagriti as a 15-day journey in the train, meeting different stakeholders. That would open up your perspective, guys. And last, most important is you can reach out to incubators like us. TIS runs a wonderful program. I always say that TIS is pretty much good with the idea to lab kind of solutions and startups. AICRMP can connect you to the government market linkages and all that, so you could reach out to us. Unlimited India gives you initial funding. They are the ones supporting you at initial journey. There are a lot of other incubators. Just check out, guys. So I talked about like a real entrepreneur. Let me just put this perspective. कि हमको भी opportunity दिखी, and this is what we have come up with. We have come up with a foundation program for budding entrepreneurs, which is online. And why? If you would see that innovation and entrepreneurship, these are the key words in this challenging times, and we are seeing a lot of job loss and reverse migration. So we are coming up with a 20-hour structured learning modules, and we are going to start off with 6th of June with certificate and all. And again, this is a so structured kind of a program that there are a lot of online sessions happening. We want to add value, and this is right for the budding entrepreneur. So if you have anyone within the community, you can go through our website, that is aicrmp.org/aicacademy.php. There is a page, and then you would find all the details about the program. And mind you, this is not free. We are charging, the value of this program is almost 60,000 to 70,000, the kind of resources that we have. But we are doing this at 4,500, looking at the current scenario. So again, I mean, that's the opportunity that we have taken up as an incubator, as an entrepreneur, and be there in the social enterprise space as well. So yeah, we'll leave with a parting thought, which is Entrepreneurship, what we really believe in. Our newsletter is Entrepreneurship. We are supporting 19 incubators at this moment. We are soon going to start off with cohort 2, which would have another 12 to 15 incubators. And it's an amazing journey. It's a community that we have built, and we are there for the society, and our motto is nation building. And at the end of it, if you are able to support entrepreneurs, I think that's what you really need to look at. So that's all. I'm done. I think I'm so sorry. I just took 3 more minutes.
That's okay, sir. That's very okay, sir.
So I'm done. Maybe we could take up the questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. It was really
good to see you, Professor Satyajit.
It was actually an enlightening session, sir. And I think your 17 goals to transform own world was really super, sir. Even last week, I was going through a session where I heard a ma'am was talking, Washmi ma'am was there. She was like, okay, the thing starts from home. So she said, okay, why can't we have one energy-free Saturday, or, you know, where we have complete lockdown in Mumbai, especially as a solution to this pollution and all that thing. Anyway, sir, we have many questions from the chat that I've actually noted down, and I would also like to bring to you guys notice There are participants watching from Philippines. We have Roshleen ma'am from Philippines. We have Shirley Serikos. There's Amir Siddiqui from Oman. Ameline Mispiros is watching from Oroquitu City Division. So we have many participants from international universities also here. Few questions I would like to you all to answer. So there's one question from Professor Ankit. He's like, how social entrepreneurship can play a role in mitigating the effects of reverse migration caused by COVID-19. Any of you can take up? Satyajit sir, how social entrepreneurship can play a role in mitigating the effects of reverse migration, which is caused, due to this pandemic 19.
I think I'll submit that migration is a macro problem, right? So macro problem, we'll have to see the problem in the right context, different context, right? So I don't know. It's not true that social entrepreneurship has answer to all the problems, but nevertheless, we'll have to look at the granularity of the problem in a context, because social entrepreneurship work in a context. It doesn't work as a universal sort of solution to a problem. So this question seemed to be too macro in the sense, reverse migration. So I would like to submit that the person who is seeing this problem, who see the pain of this problem, who feels the pain of the problem, who aspires कि कुछ तो करना चाहिए. What Uday was also echoing the same sentiment. Has to deep dive, to how to first immerse. Okay, and that's what I said. Immersion is critical. You can't talk about a problem without immersion. I can't read a newspaper report. I cannot listen to a television noise of discussion and say, here is a problem, right? I think that's too, because journalistic way of seeing a problem is very different from the entrepreneurial way of visualizing a problem. Let me put it straight. I have no issues with the journalist. What I'm saying, journalist is the problem with a different perspective, different reason. We entrepreneur will see a problem from a different reason, okay? Because we want to see the whole socio-economic, cultural, regulatory, technological, all the dimensions, and see, let me see the complexity. Ye kya complexity? Ye kya khichdi hai, right? So understanding the complexity through immersion is very critical. So I don't have an answer to what you are saying, but I will say in what context we are referring it as a problem. Okay, you may say government should create a job. Okay, people should provide shelter. People should provide food. I think these seem to be very banal type of solution. When there is a burn, you just apply a burnol and say, oh, you will get immediate relief. Entrepreneurship is not immediate relief. It's a deep rooted. What Uday also said. It's a change maker. It's a change maker proposition, right? It's a social value creation. It's an environmental value creation, economic value creation as well, right? A mix of the value is something which is very critical. So I would ask you to really deep dive into the problem. Do immersion, first-hand immersion. See, Mera Imana, which so Uday was also saying that the way entrepreneur will see a problem, others will not see. Okay, believe me, entrepreneurial visualization of problem is fundamentally different, and that's why it leads to entrepreneurial action. Sometimes entrepreneurs sees the problem. You gave an example of Kolhapuri Chappal. These are really very fundamental, deep-rooted, immersive, observational propositions. Okay, these are not the enterprises. These are very observational, deep-rooted observational propositions, right? It's not a great idea. It's a great thinking. It's a great visualization, right? So I would say that we need a great visualization to see the migration as problem. To be very honest, I'm a migrant in Mumbai because I don't belong to Mumbai. Okay, Mumbai is not my home city. Neither I'm born and brought up here. I came here. Okay, so when I come here as to join work in Mumbai, I'm not labeled as migrant, right? I'm not labeled as migrant. So you don't make all the statements for me because I'm teaching. I'm a professor in Tata Institute of Social Science, a great university, great professor, blah blah blah, right? But when somebody who does the small job, works in a small factory, we say, oh, bichara migrant, right? I'm also migrant, right? Why don't you call me as bichara? That's the question. Because the question is, what is the context of the problem? We are not understanding that. So I will request to put the contextual framework in the question. I'm sure there will be great understanding of the problem. So I always argue that understanding the problem is far more important than giving a solution. Solution probably comes reasonably obvious way, but the understanding the problem doesn't come in obvious way. It really needs very passionate, very empathy centric involvement with the problem. Okay, आपको देखना पड़ता है problem को, रहना पड़ता है, problem को महसूस करना पड़ता है, बेचारा नहीं कहना है. Okay, so first thing is I'm deadly against calling any primary stakeholder as बेचारा. Nobody is बेचारा in this world, right? We make them बेचारा actually, right? So there's no word in बेचारा. They're the primary stakeholder, okay, and they're the owner of the problem. So how do you attach value with them? I think that's the largest question. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question, but I kind of open up the sort of space to see the window. Okay, I try to do that.
Right, sir. I think that is why we all are in Mumbai, you know, not just emotionally attached, but even for our bread and butter. So we're not migrants over here, right, sir? Uday, sir, profit, when we talk about profitability, there are few questions since you have taken up, you threw some light on social enterprises.
Yeah.
There's a question where Monica Jain is asking, can social entrepreneurship also on bread and butter? How is it different from social work? Similar question is from Ajay Talwekar, where he's asking that how profitability and social enterprising is equally.
Okay. So again, I mean, I talked about certain myths. एक हमेशा myth और साथ में रहता है that lot of times people that are in social work feel that their work is up to a level of creating an enterprise, and that is where Professor Satyajit and Dr. Archana out here would also agree that if at all, if it's just a social work, it's for a particular period and it's for a passion for which you are not going to charge. It's something that voluntarily you are doing it. But when you are making a social enterprise, you are looking at an entire business model canvas, and then also understanding exactly the input output, what we really call it as input output impact outcome. I think that's a major framework that you really need to understand, that as a social work you may become a part of an voluntary organization and do that and continue that. You don't have that vision, you are implementing the vision of other organization. So social work and social enterprises two are different things. As an entrepreneur, as a founder, you need to really have good resources, network in hand if you want to start up. And at the same point of time, the profitability की बात रहती है. There are two kinds of enterprises. One is for-profit enterprises and the other one is not-for-profit enterprises. So not-for-profit enterprises are your Section 8, in which profits आपके किसी को उसमें जाता नहीं है. And then please understand that whenever you are in the social enterprise domain, even for-profit, the profit that you earn goes back within your stakeholders and resources to work on another plan that you have in your social enterprise. So profitability आपको हमेशा ध्यान में रखनी है. But when I say profitability, that is just to cover up your cost and add some elements so that you can cover up your future expenses as well. I think that there are different models to that and different frameworks to that as well. But coming back to the question, I believe about social work and social entrepreneurship, these are way two different things. And please, the passion only cannot take you to entrepreneurial journey. Beyond passion, what you need is the other traits which we talked about. And the second aspect of profitability, again, please don't misinterpret social enterprises as कि वो profit नहीं बना सकते. There are for-profit enterprises as well, which is into social impact. So again, you need to have the bigger vision, the macro view in perspective, and that is how you would look at the solutions. I hope so. I've been able to answer.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir. So I think profit and the social impact, they go hand in hand. Yeah, for these social entrepreneurs basically. Okay, coming to Archana ma'am, thoda agar aap just throw a little light on a question. There is somebody who is asking, Madhuri Darekar, like is preschools are considered under social entrepreneurship, ma'am? And then similarly, somebody is like, how teachers are, you know, like how this social enterprise is useful to the teachers.
Can I add something to previous question as well? Because coming from social work background and then I did my social entrepreneurship PhD. So I think I have something to add for previous question also. So am I allowed to add? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
What happened, what I see, I don't see social work and social entrepreneurship completely different from each other. Sometimes I see overlapping between social work and social entrepreneurship. What I have found that social work professionals are best taught professional to solve social problem. But where is the problem? In most of the cases, they lack entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial approach. And that's why they are, in most of the cases, they are not able to sustain their initiative and create sustainable social change. And that's why they need entrepreneurial mindset. But what I believe, if the trained social worker, I mean the person with social work background, trained social work background, if they adopt entrepreneurial approach to solve social problem, they'll be able to create more meaningful social impact, which is very sustainable. So that is my answer to the previous question. Regarding I mean, the present question is preschool considered as social enterprise or not? I think if you see from this perspective, then everything is social enterprise. Even the hospital, Apollo Hospital, Bridge Candy Hospital, I mean, Leelavati Hospital, they are treating the patient, they are creating value. We, the teachers, we are social entrepreneur. I mean, all the educational institutes are social enterprises then. If you see from so broader perspective, then each and everything is, even the Reliance is social enterprise because they are creating employment for the people. So we cannot consider each and every legal entity which is creating, I mean, contributing to social development as social enterprise. First, we need to think what constitutes social entrepreneurship. The primary motive of social entrepreneurs is to solve social problem, irrespective of the legal framework, whether it is registered as trust, society, section 25 or for profit. That is secondary thing. The primary motive is always to solve social problem and create social value. And the second is creating this value or solving the social problem using the entrepreneurial approach. So if you want to analyze that this particular entity is social enterprise or not, we first need to interact with all the stakeholders. All the stakeholders means the person who is creating value, the people for whom the values have been created, different stakeholders like employees who are in the team members who are engaged in solving the social problem and creating value, and lots of personally visiting the organization, interacting with all the stakeholders, and then understand whether this particular organization is using entrepreneurial approach to solve social problem and delivering social value or not. If the whole process of social problem solving includes both the things, entrepreneurship approach and the mission, social mission, then only we can consider something as social enterprise. So sitting here in this room, I cannot say that this entity is social enterprise or not. And it applies to preschool as well. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, right, ma'am. So, ma'am, you think these CSR activities that these big enterprises that they do, so they cannot call them as social entrepreneurship, of course.
See, like I said, social entrepreneurship always, the primary motive is social mission. The corporate, the private, the corporate which exist not because of CSR. Okay. CSR, doing CSR is not the reason of existence for corporate. They earn profit. That's why a part of profit they are spending in CSR. Though they are creating value, I am not denying it. But we cannot consider as social enterprise because the primary reason of their existence is not solving social problem. Social mission is not the primary mission. Am I clear?
Yes.
Perfect, ma'am. Perfect, ma'am. So entrepreneurial approach, I think, can only make them sustain in the long run.
Yeah, like in my presentation, I talked about there are like opportunity identification. If the person is seeing social problems as opportunity, if they are using resourcefulness, means using the existing resources in innovative way to create more and more impact, then value creation, innovation. So these are different important dimension of social entrepreneurship. I mean entrepreneurship. And if they are using all these dimension, opportunity identification, resource mobilization, innovation, partnership, co-creation for solving social problem, then we consider any entity as social enterprise. But the primary motive always should be on solving social problem and achieving social mission.
Uh, Coming to Uday sir, you there?
Yeah, very much.
Yes, sir. There are few questions on social entrepreneurs. Okay. The question is like, are there any government schemes or subsidies available for these social entrepreneurs? Like, any government's role in this, sir?
Very much, very much. If you would see, I mean, at this particular moment, I mean, let's not, as Dr. Rachna rightly said, at this moment, if the end goal, the macro element is very important. This kind of question, जब ये ऐसे questions आते हैं, we get pretty much scared, because then the thing is, if you look at only the subsidies and then want to start off, I think that cannot be your goal of starting a social enterprise. Professor Satyajit would also agree, because most of the time this is what we get when we are on ground, कि हमको सपोर्ट नहीं है, पर अगर सपोर्ट मिलेगा तो हम लोग करेंगे. अगर वो वाले एटीट्यूड से आप करोगे, देखिए आज सपोर्ट है, कल उठ के वो अगर सपोर्ट नहीं रहा तो क्या आप बंद कर दोगे? So please never ever kind of get into those grants. I mean, there available. You can Google it, find out from different perspective. Government will come up, but again, whatever thing that comes in life comes with some sort of a condition, right? कि वो आपको वापस रीपे करना रहता है, या बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको इनिशियल बूस्टिंग के लिए है और जिसको हम ग्रांट मनी बोलते हैं. So there are a lot of impact investment funds. There are even private players in that, like Ankur Capital and a lot of angel investors that are there working for the social impact, IntelliCap and all those guys. But don't start off your kind of journey keeping in mind कि क्या available है, फिर मैं वो हिसाब से start करूँगा. So that's my way of looking at things. I think if at all, if others have some other suggestions. और एक बहुत अच्छा question आया था about preschool. We just got one idea about preschool. तो preschool start करना नहीं था, उनका idea था कि rural जो है tier 2, tier 3 में, how they have created modules for teachers so that you can start preschools in rural areas. I think that's where I believe that's where the social impact comes in. एंड अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट मॉडल, क्योंकि आप देखोगे प्री स्कूल अभी ज्यादा करके मेट्रोस टियर 1 टाउन्स में आपको दिखेंगे, प्री स्कूल आपको गांव में और वहां पे नहीं दिखेंगे. सो अगर आप सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करो, स्किल डेवलपमेंट की बात करो, कि आप अगर ऐसे मॉड्यूल्स बना सकते हो टीचर्स के लिए रूरल एरियाज में टियर 2 टियर 3 में, और यू कैन स्टार्ट प्री स्कूल. आई थिंक वी हैव लॉट ऑफ रिच हिस्ट्री कि ये जो मॉडल हम लोग अभी प्री स्कूल का देख रहे हैं इन मेट्रोस, आई थिंक दैट्स नॉट द राइट मॉडल. देयर इज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ एलिमेंट ऑफ आवर वैदिक kind of things. If you can develop something like that, that is a major social impact, because जो student की journey है वो preschool से start होती है कोई बच्चे की, तो वहां पे अगर आप impact कर पाओ, I mean amazing. But then अगर आप preschool फिर franchisee और profit और वो वाले aspect से आ रहे हो, then I think again, and let's not jargonize lot of things of social entrepreneurship, innovation, business model. जो ये on ground करते हैं ना, which I am sure my other co-panelists would also agree, they come with a purpose and end goal in mind. They don't come with the approach kind of driven thing. वो हमारा एक responsibility है जो उनको एक road map देना है. बाकी अगर वो end goal clear है, then whether you categorize them into social entrepreneur या कुछ भी, because at times I have seen people don't have money to real feed themselves and then they call themselves as social entrepreneurs or wanting to label themselves as that. Let's not get into that kind of culture of creating more social entrepreneurs. I think it's more about solving problems rather than social entrepreneurs at this moment.
Right, sir. There's one last question I'll just take up. The question goes like, what is the social impact like by social entrepreneurs amidst pandemic? Because this pandemic is actually we are amidst that. So you think anywhere we are actually affected, and if you really want these entrepreneurs to come up in post-pandemic, so what are the actually attractions for them?
Satyajit sir may answer, and then maybe I'll just add on to the thing.
Satyajit sir, over to you.
Okay. So Uday ने मेरे को फंसा दिया पहले. Okay, no, I'll try to answer that. I think there are three things which you talked about. One is social impact, and then we said pandemic, and within pandemic, what is social enterprise? I think there were three questions, and I assume there are three different questions actually. They may be related for the sake of putting them together, but I think that so social impact. There could be definitions in the literature, academic literature. Probably Archana can have a better definition, better explanation. But the way I understand social impact, I connect it with the same statement which even Uday also said. What is the change you want to bring in? आप क्या बदलाव लाना चाहते हो? ठीक है? And change is not something which you think you should be bringing. How you think the primary stakeholder also desire to think about the same change. I think that's the very fundamental, right? And sometimes, as I said, conflict resolution. यहाँ पे conflict भी होता है, right? Open defecation, right? People don't find open defecation as a problem. जैसे हमारे पिछली generation में भी ऐसा हम भी कर रहे हैं, right? What's great about it, right? So आप क्यों कहते हो open defecation problem? हमारे लिए तो problem नहीं, we are quite okay, right? But you think it's a problem, right? I think it's a problem, okay, and so on, right? So the question is, how do you negotiate? How do you talk with the primary stakeholder whom you think are being affected? Okay, same logic I'll apply to education also, because we work with a group of tribal community in Jhabua in Western Madhya Pradesh. They think that formal education is not needed. It corrupts mind. Believe me, I'm making a very strong negative statement, which all of us would not love to listen to it. They say it corrupts your mind. Okay, जब तक आप पढ़े लिखे नहीं हो, because tribal, okay, it's an indigenous community. They talk about 5 J: Jal, Jameen, Jeevan, Janwar, and then there is another one, right? I'm forgetting. So they say we are very nature-centric people. The moment you jargonize, as Uday also said, you call it a sustainable development. Okay, but otherwise, sustainability it's a part of our culture. Why do I go to college and get a degree on sustainable development and green economy? I'm doing it anyway, right? Your education will unnecessarily corrupt my mind to think it like a business, right? I'm not a business person. I believe in sustainability as a way of life, right? So what I'm saying, impact is something which needs to be seen from this lens. What is the change you want to bring in? The change which you think people concerned will imbibe. They will accept that, yes, this change is good for my life. Time लगता है. Impact create करने में decades चले जाते हैं, generation निकल जाती है, right? So we'll have to see that out of our actions, entrepreneurial action, how do you create output, immediate results? Okay, getting good marks in mathematics, getting good marks in science Olympiad, maths Olympiad, these are good things to claim that you have done a great job. Believe me, it doesn't change the life. Okay, what do you do with the science education? Okay, do you go back to the community and make the scientific temper in the community which change the life of the people? That's what impact is all about. It takes generation, right? It takes generation. So I would say when we talk about impact, it's a desired state of mind. I'm saying, and I will connect with the aspiration, I will connect it to the positive social change which we are referring to. It's a desired state of mind which all of us have to pursue, and it may not happen in my lifetime, doesn't matter. But that's the mission on which I go on. And I'll achieve it step by step. I'll do it in milestone basis, okay? That's precisely the impact is. Impact is a very big term. It is a very big concept. It is not something which I see happening tomorrow, okay? Unfortunately, most of the time, impact, we think it's clicking a photo and printing in the newspaper is the impact. Believe me, that's not the thing. Okay, I fed 10 children, I gave 10 computers, I donated 1 ambulance. I'm sorry, I'm making very strong negative statements, but these are not impact. These are only an action. What happens to the impact of the action? I think that's precisely what we are referring to. Then the second question, what you said about COVID. COVID, as I said, I see it as an opportunity because I'm an entrepreneurship preacher, mentor, whatever you call it. Okay, every problem is an opportunity for me. And in fact, we are working a lot with the biotechnology startups, and we are helping them. Many of them actually have a COVID as their core theme. See, COVID came just now, not that they were not working on the problem. They were working on the problem. Now they are contextualizing the problem, the COVID situation. Not that COVID came and now they are sitting and discovering what's going wrong. Not that. In fact, I'm going to do a session with the founders of my lab. You may be knowing. They're the first one who developed testing kit and we changed the scenario of testing in this country. I'm going to have a session with them 12th of June. If you're interested, I can share the details. So it's not that these people are not there in the testing kit. They were there. They're there in the testing kit. The moment COVID came, they say, here is a problem and I need to solve it. I have this piece of knowledge. I have this piece of solution. I think the solution can fit into the problem. And that's how So sort of I attach this value to the problem, right? So that's precise. So COVID is an opportunity. If we have resources, if we are able to articulate, if we are going to see the opportunities, the pain point of the COVID on the general mass, different kind of people, the patients, the social worker, the grocery merchants, etc., etc. And if we can attach some value, maybe that's where we can see opportunity. And that's a deeper understanding what we are going to see. And the last question which we are seeing is, what is social entrepreneurship in there? So again, I'm echoing the same feeling what Uday was also saying, that not that everybody has to be a social entrepreneur. We need good business entrepreneurs also. So not that every social entrepreneurship is a method of solving a set of problems, right? Not that all the problem has to be solved through social entrepreneurial way. There are problems which have to be solved in a different way also, right? But social entrepreneurship has a market lens. It looks at the market, it looks at the social impact. And it's a very mission driven, as you, Uday also said, it's a very mission driven proposition, okay? We are on a mission to solve the problem, okay? If you think that we are game for this mission-driven problem solving, probably COVID is an opportunity for us. So COVID may not be an opportunity for many of us, okay, for many of us, but it will be an opportunity for many of us to think that, yeah, here is a piece of the problem which I own, okay, I take it forward, right? So it's very important for us to actually question ourselves, which was also very strongly stated by Uday, that it's a question of what I want to do. What is the value I want to create? What is the problem I want to solve? What are my strengths? How do I do it? Do I have an ecosystem? Do I have resource? Do I have network? Not that all of us have to have a lot of money in our pocket. Not all of us are chasing grant, and that's why we do social entrepreneurship. Grants are ecosystem support, right? People do it without grant also. The great social enterprises were created when grants were not there, right? So not necessarily that I'm doing it because the grants are there. Government is giving grant to fasten the process, to do things faster, because there's a sense of urgency, right? But otherwise that's not needed, right? And I know how to manage my resources, right? Bootstrapping is the way which most of the social enterprise work. So I think these are some complex explanations which can derive the questions. And I'm also of the opinion that all of us must not jargonize. I'm also of the same view. All of us not overdo that social entrepreneurship is a grand thing which will solve all the problems of this world. No, that's not true. Social entrepreneur will have its own defined roles, its own defined agenda, which you can take up further. We do need business entrepreneurs. Okay, please don't be confused that we don't need any more business entrepreneurs. We need only social. That's not true. We need business enterprises, because business enterprise work with a different efficiency parameter, different propositions, different scale, which social enterprise probably will find tough or find challenging to work on, right? So it's very important for us to contextualize the discipline. And as a teacher also, I think I own a lot of responsibility to make it clear to everybody. As a teacher or as a mentor, I own a lot of responsibility to clarify. Sorry, thank you for this opportunity.
Fine, sir, but then I think you have given us the multi-dimensions, to look at it actually. And it's coming to the end. I would request Neil, who has guided us through all these technical solutions, and give us a brief idea about this Edify learning management solutions. Over to you, Viren.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So firstly, I'm so happy and so glad to be the part of such a beautiful session. As an entrepreneur, this was like a revision for me, like a 360 degree. I have been an incubator myself at AIC with Uday, Wankawala sir. And this was like almost a revision for whatever we have done, whatever we've learned with you so far. Also, it helped me as an entrepreneur to connect back to my ground. So as entrepreneurs, we are always excited for solving or for the next big problem that we are looking at. This is how generally we approach towards entrepreneurship. I'm sure when Uday sir said that there are two kinds of organization, one is for profit and one not for profit. Without incubation centers like you, I'm sure there'll be also kind of organization which are for losses. So fortunately, we are under this roof right now, and I'm so glad to also be part of such a wonderful audience, and also co-organizing this workshop with K.P.B. Hinduja College of Commerce with the BMS faculty. So let me introduce you to Edfly Learn. Like Satyajit Majumdar sir said, we had this e-learning platform so far, and when this situation came in, the COVID-19 situation came in, we put this up for free for all our educators. So this came in like an opportunity. Also for teachers who can upskill themselves on various technologies, who can adopt various technologies to be ready for the coming times. So with this, so far we've got more than 15,000 subscribers on board, 15,000 educators who have joined our platform in past few weeks. Several weeks from now, we have been asked questions that why are you investing so heavily in e-learning now suddenly? I mean, that time it was a gut feel that this situation may persist, and we were evaluating even with AIC that should we invest, should we not, with our investors, with my team members. And today as we talk, we've got 7 times more subscribers that I've had in last 10 years together who have adopted e-learning. So today we have the answer for this. At Edfly, we are committed, I am committed to give all of us a platform which we can rely on, which is secured, which is not dangerous. Every other day, with the amount of users who are joining on board, with the amount of content that is being created curated on our platform, security was one big concern. Every other day we hear some news of a lecture that is being hacked, and some irrelevant content that is being shared on such webinars and so on. So as a company, we have invested on the platform. We have made it easy. We have invested on the security in a big way. We have a double layer security. So be rest assured, none of our courses have got hacked and will get hacked. None of our sessions will get hacked. So with this, again, I would like to thank all of the organizers, the panel members here, and the audience, the participants, for giving us this opportunity to host this wonderful program.
Yeah. Thank you, Viral, for all the support from Edfly. Now, Sheetal ma'am would propose vote of thanks. Over to you, Sheetal ma'am. Sheetal ma'am, unmute yourself first. Welcome, Sheetal ma'am.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon to everybody. It was really enriching, enlightening, and I think an eye-opener in the area of social entrepreneurship. Because wherever the word social comes, people think it is all free. There is no money involved. There is no gain in it. But Uday sir has very much rightly said that without any kind of this kind of objective or motive, there cannot be any motivation. So all kind of social entrepreneurship activities definitely lead to economic development and economic returns, which also has to be seen by the entrepreneurs. And rightly said by Archana that these people are change makers, change agents. They bring the change in society. And Uday sir has mentioned very nicely these entrepreneurs like the Color Wale were women, because it is very innovative and really very thoughtful of the people. And the Kolhapuri artisans of the Kukari. It was very new to see all these ideas. And rightly, correctly said by Satyajit sir that strategically these entrepreneurial models has to be implemented by the social thoughtfulness by the entrepreneur, which will bring a development society. With the situation of pandemic, the COVID, I think social entrepreneurship is the torch bearer for our future. I thank the Edfly for this platform, the management given for this activity to be conducted, and I also thank Hinduja management for helping us to conduct this FDP and helping all the participants to have this knowledge about social entrepreneurship. Last but not the least, all the participants, a big thank you to all of you to join us for our event and helping us to make it much better and enlivened. Thank you so much. I hand over this topic now to Jagrati.
Yes.
Yeah, so we end here.
Jagrati, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Satyajit sir, Archana ma'am.
Thank you so much, all the panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Uday sir. Thank you, Satyajit sir. Thank you, Archana ma'am. All your three people's topics were very different and really having dimensions of different areas of social entrepreneurship.
So
Thank
many
you so much,
questions,
everyone. Thank you.
many questions are unanswered actually.
Take it offline. Thank you.
Anyway, yes.
Thank you, Rashmi ma'am, for such a wonderful topic to be taken as an entrepreneurship.